The Glass Castle, a memoir by Jeanette Walls, shares the difficult upbringing that Jeanette and her siblings had to endure. If you like reading about hardships, family struggles, and perseverance, it is a memoir for you. The Glass Castle was a New York Times bestseller and even went on to become a major motion picture. The memoir goes through Jeanette's struggles growing up. From moving around all the time and being raised by an alcoholic dad and a mom who is mentally unstable, she faces challenges that normal kids her age don't have to face, such as wondering where her next meal will come from or if her dad will return home that night. Jeanette does not know when her parents might make her move again and constantly has to be ready. Her parents are very impulsive and could uproot their lives at any moment. Walls uses this memoir to share how her own extreme hardships shaped her into the stronger person she is today. Through the use of imagery, Jeanette is able to explain the harsh conditions she grew up with, as well as using dialogue to further depict the neglect she faced by her parents, which ultimately transformed her into the brave, independent woman she is today. From a passage in the beginning portion of the book, Jeanette's mom has just been paid for her new job as a teacher. Each payday, the check is taken by Jeanette's dad, who spends the money to feed his alcohol addiction rather than to support his family. The passage starts off by exposing Jeanette's dad's egotistical demeanor by explaining how he has to be the one to handle the family's money, even though he did not earn the money himself, using the money to benefit solely him and not his family. When Jeanette's mom says the only research you're doing is on the liver's capacity to absorb alcohol, Jeanette uses dialogue to show how selfish her dad is with the family's money. The passage also shows how crazy Jeanette's family dynamic is, such as when her mom has to lie, saying that she has not gotten the check so that her husband does not steal it. Dialogue is then used again in this passage to show how Jeanette is constantly being thrown in between her parents' problems. Jeanette's mom says, "Hide it where no one can get it, because you know how scarce socks can get in our house." Her mom is trying to fool her dad by putting the money in a sock and handing it to Jeanette for safekeeping. This quote also emphasizes the point that the family is so poor that they cannot even afford multiple pairs of socks. The issue of money is then brought up again in a passage towards the end of the story. Jeanette has been given the responsibility to budget the family's money while the mom is away for the summer. Jeanette says, "That left me, at 13, the head of the household. This leaves her with a great amount of responsibility and pressure for a 13-year-old to take on." Jeanette takes on a parental role as she has to create a budget to satisfy the whole family's needs. This passage also uses dialogue to signify the role reversal that occurs in Jeanette's family. Jeanette is constantly acting more mature than her own parents. Her dad says, "Hun, I need some money." This reveals that he knows he is not responsible enough to care for his own family's money. Jeanette is not happy at the fact that her dad is asking for money, but gives it to him anyway. She describes the $5 bill that she gives to him as crumpled, which is an adjective similarly used to describe their life. Jeanette then says, "I was mad at myself, but even madder at my dad." This is a turning point in the story because her dad has always been someone she makes exceptions for, no matter the harm he causes in their life. Jeanette's dad asks for more and more money, eventually forcing her to say, "I've got bills piling up," in which his response is, "Don't you worry about food and bills. That's for me to worry about, okay?" This exchange of dialogue shows irony because as the dad tells her to not worry, she has been the one budgeting and taking care of his family. Her dad even goes as far as to ask, "Have I ever let you down?" When in reality, her dad has let her down numerous times before. Throughout the story, Jeanette's dad is constantly asking her if she trusts him or if he's ever let her down. This specific time is different from all the others because Jeanette wants to tell him the real truth this time, that he is constantly letting her down and she cannot trust him. He is no longer her hero that she can have sympathy for all the time. Jeanette has to worry about how she will provide for her family now that her dad has taken the money to spend on alcohol. She is being forced to mature and take on the responsibilities of her negligent parents at a very young age. When the story begins, Jeanette is too young to realize how crazy her life really is. However, as time goes on, she begins to be able to adapt to the abnormal lifestyle her family lives. She starts off as a naive young girl, unable to see the issues in her problematic lifestyle. She is then able to defy the odds and transform into a successful, independent woman, much different than the people who raised her.